I have never told this story to anyone, not even the closest person in my life. Maybe because I spent so many years pretending it never happened, or maybe because speaking about certain things gives them new life. But today, I want to finally say it without my name, without any identity, just truth floating in the open air. The story began 12 years ago in a small neighborhood where the streets were so quiet at night you could hear your own heartbeat. At the end of our street stood a house everyone avoided. It wasn't abandoned, that was the strange part. Someone lived there. The curtains moved sometimes, lights came on, shadows shifted. But no one ever saw the person who lived inside the house with the blue window. Kids whispered stories about ghosts. Adults crossed the street when passing it. Me, I was just curious. I was 17 then, filled with that kind of teenage bravery that comes when you don't fully understand danger. The blue window called to me, like something on the other side was waiting to be discovered. One evening after walking home from school, I found a note under a stone near my gate. The handwriting was thin and shaky. "Do you hear it too?" I didn't know what it meant. I thought someone was playing a prank, so I threw the note away. The following day, another one appeared. "If you hear it, don't ignore it. It gets louder when you pretend it's not there." My heart beat faster. I looked around, nothing. No movement, no person, just quiet. My mother was inside the house cooking. My father was still at work. No one could have placed it there so silently unless they were watching me. That night something strange happened. I heard a faint tapping sound like someone touching my window with the tip of a finger. Tap, tap, tap. When I gathered the courage to open the curtain, I saw nothing. Just darkness and the silhouette of the blue window house glowing faintly at the end of the street. I told myself it was the wind and forced myself to sleep, but the tapping continued every night. It became a routine: darkness, tapping, fear, silence. But then something changed. The blue window began to light up at exactly 2:13 a.m. every night. A dim, cold glow spilled out like water. The first night I saw it, I felt fear. The second night, curiosity. The third night, a strange pull I couldn't explain. One day after school, I decided to walk past the house. The gate was rusted, the paint peeling. The building itself looked tired, the kind of tired that comes from holding too many secrets. As I walked by, something caught my eye. The blue curtain moved, not from wind but from someone pulling it back slightly. A pale hand. I froze. The curtain dropped immediately, but not before I saw something written on the glass in chalk-like writing. "Come back at midnight." I didn't sleep that day. My mind was a storm. Should I go? Should I ignore it? Is this danger? Is this someone needing help? Midnight came anyway, and I went. I stood before the house, heart shaking. The blue window was dark. I almost turned back, convinced the whole thing was a mistake, when the gate creaked open by itself. I stepped in. The air was unnaturally cold. I knocked on the door with trembling hands. A voice behind me whispered, "You shouldn't have come." I turned around, and there she was, a girl around my age. Thin, quiet, with eyes that looked like they'd witnessed too much pain. She had long black hair, pale skin, and wore a faded white dress. "Who are you?" I asked. "I live here," she said softly, "but I'm not supposed to." Before I could reply, she grabbed my hand. Her touch was icy. "You have to listen carefully," she whispered. "There's something inside this house, something that follows people who don't listen." "Why me?" I asked. "Because you heard it," she said. "The tapping." My breath froze. "How do you know about that?" She didn't answer. Instead, she pointed at the window. "You were chosen." She led me into the house. The smell inside was old dust, damp walls, something metallic. Everything was dim except for a faint blue glow leaking from a room down the hallway. "Don't look," she whispered. "If you look, it sees you." But my eyes were already drawn to the glow. "Come," she urged, pulling me into a smaller room stacked with dozens of notebooks from floor to ceiling. "What is all this?" I asked. She opened one notebook, revealing pages filled with hundreds of names and dates. "These," she whispered, "are people who heard it, people who tried to ignore it." My name was on the last page, written 3 days earlier. "How did you—" She cut me off. Listen, you're not here to question, you're here to survive. What happens if I don't listen? I asked, breath trembling. She hesitated, then. You become part of the house. The tapping began again, but this time it was inside the house. Tap, tap, tap. The girl's face turned pale. It knows you're here, she whispered. We don't have much time. She pushed the notebooks aside and revealed a small hidden door. You must leave, never come back, forget this place. But you. She shook her head. I can't leave, I belong here. The tapping grew louder, bangs shaking the walls. Bang, bang, bang. What is that? I cried. Her eyes watered. The house feeds on people who pretend it's not real. It followed you because you were curious. The door behind us rattled violently. Suddenly, she shoved me through the small exit. Run, she screamed. Don't look back. I crawled out, heart racing, and didn't dare look back. Behind me, I heard her whisper. Don't forget to tell someone. The house hates silence. I didn't speak for 2 days after that. Soon after, my family moved. Life continued, but something stayed inside me, a coldness, a memory, a fear of late-night tapping. 12 years later, I returned to that street. The Blue Window house was gone, burned to the ground. Only ashes remained. Neighbors gave unclear stories. Some said the house burned from inside without spreading. Others said they saw a girl screaming through the blue window before everything went silent. I walked around the ruins, thinking it was finally over. But then I saw it, a note under a stone near the ashes, with the same shaky handwriting. Did you tell someone? Tab, tab, tab. Behind me. That was last week, and last night at exactly 2:13 a.m. I heard it again. Tab, tab, tab. Not at my window. Inside my room. So I am writing this now anonymously because I think the house didn't burn. I think it moved. I think it follows people. And I think it chooses those who stay silent too long. If you ever hear a tapping sound late at night that feels like it's calling you, don't ignore it. Don't pretend it's not real, because the house with the blue window is still out there, and it hates silence.